We need to wring out this bowl for good health. And we wring this bowl to affirm that these lands that we love are the ancestral lands of the Yavapai people, the Wipukepas, the Cuevkepayas, the Tolkepayas, and the Yavapai. I also affirm that I am the daughter of Thora. We have unusual names in my family. I am the daughter of Thora, who was the daughter of Delilah, who was the daughter of Patty, who was the daughter of Sarah Ann, who knew the way of bees. Bronwyn has chosen a beautiful chant for us, which will be shown to you on the screen. And there are words for you to be able to sing along. And there are ways to drum and make music during this. So if you don't have a drum or something near you, there's one up here I can see in the front row. And I also want to warn you, if I start coughing, I may disappear under the podium and be drinking my very strong cough syrup. But don't be alarmed. Let us sing Circle of Women.
Good morning. I feel like it's the pandemic again. I'm glad you all are here. I know there are lots of people at home on Zoom. I see a count of 16 folks at home. I'm Kelsey Wilkes, and I'm your worship associate today. I'm glad that you're all here. I hope if you're not well, you'll soon be well, and those of you at home are doing well as well. That's a lot of wells, isn't it? We're glad that you've joined us here. You can check us out online at prescottuu.org. I've decided not to use my script today. So, welcome. If you have a phone, please put it on worship mode, if you would please. We want to thank our pianist, Lena Hubin, our choir that I believe is on a recording today, so you'll hear a beautiful piece from them. There were announcements playing at the beginning of the service. You'll also see them at the end of the service in Davis Hall when we're having coffee. Sandra Palacios, who's our faith development coordinator, is across the street with kids 5 and older. And then we also have a nursery here in the building if you should need to have that. Join us after the service. We will have coffee and probably something to eat in Davis Hall. Oh, it's birthday. There's cake. There's cake. There's cake. Come on in for cake. Some of you can go find a cake. Have a cake. So we'll have that afterwards, and then, of course, the Zoomies can go into their breakout groups. I wonder if this is the right order. Yes. Okay. Right. We begin our service in the Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting the chalice. Our chalice lighter, we welcome back today, Tracy Powers. Thank you, Tracy. This is the Mother's Day chalice lighting by Claudine Olivia. We light this chalice for mothers and mothering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, a baby, a child, or a youth into their adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, love, energy to the growth of others in the world. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear the flame of love. Thank you, Tracy.
Good morning. This is my first cold or illness in 5 years, so it hit me hard. And we are here today to celebrate together the work of mothers. And I want to begin with celebrating the work of some women's hands who decided to get together a year ago and create an image that would have meaning for us during our worship service. I invite you to look around and look at the back wall. This is Granite Mountain with prayer flags across it. When I am having a difficult day, my sister says to me, "You are a mountain." As this congregation goes through a transition, may this beautiful art remind you of your strength. It is a reminder of the strength that brought us through a pandemic and all of the illnesses, deaths, conflicts. We are a mountain. Could we say that together? We are a mountain. So I begin today with thanks to those women who worked so hard to make this symbol a reality in this sanctuary. I don't think many of them are here this morning. And Chris Parsons, who was the one who did so much on this, she was the ringleader of this. But I wonder, is anyone here who worked on this work of art? Could you please come up? Because I want to give you flowers. Okay, now please rise. Let us rise in body or spirit and sing. Bright morning stars are rising. Let us say our covenant together. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together. And now Kelsey and I, we were hoping to have more people participate, but because of the risk of infection, there's just the two of us. But this is a ritual for Mother's Day that acknowledges the complexity of this day. As I look at the array of cards, can you hear me? Good. That are available for Mother's Day, especially in the Hallmark bookshops, it seems that there are many relationships and experiences that are not named, that are invisible. And so we begin this service with honoring the complexity of this day, the complexity of relationships and experiences that may be present. As we speak of all of these different mothers, we will each put a stone in our bowls.
Yes? Yay. For those whose mothers have died.
For the mothers who have adopted, and for the biological moms.
For all those who want to be mothers and who may not have had the experience.
For those whose children are far away.
For the mothers-in-law, the stepmoms, the co-parents who are recreating family.
For those who didn't receive the mothering that they needed.
For those who didn't offer the mothering they wish they had.
For those mothers who have lost children, whether unborn, infants, children, youth, and adults. For the ones who are missed.
For those families that don't include a mom, yet are mothering, are nurturing, who are loving and whole just as they are.
For those with wonderful and complicated relationships with their parents or with their children, all practicing the art of being human.
For those who are grateful for the blessings of their mothers.
And now I want each of you to call to mind those who have been a mother or a mother figure to you. I invite you to bring those names into this place. Marge, Thora, Joy. Thank you. And we have kind of already entered into that sacred time where we consider what is on our hearts and minds. And I invite you to breathe into your hearts as we listen to the sound of this bell. We bring to this place today our feet on this earth. Some of you out there recently come up from the canyon once again. All of that ancient energy in your bones. We hold this love we share as a community. We hold the complexity of this day, the complexity of each day. We hold the many people in Afghanistan who are displaced, many who died. We hold the many places on this earth where there is war. We continue to ask, for we will not give up hope. We continue to ask for leaders to turn to peace. This is a time when the joys and sorrows of our heart can be so personal. Mine leans towards my niece in this moment. and others are for those people who are displaced on the other side of the earth, and we hold all of those. I invite you into whatever is in your heart, and we will sit in meditation, and if you would like, please come and add a stone to the already many stones that are in the bowls today. And Lena will play for us. We add also Sharon Watt grieving the loss of her brother, James. I have a brother, James. James Dyson on Thursday, May 9th. We also hold in joy and thankfulness Dan Reardon, who hung that enormous thing on the wall and whose work is often invisible but is holding us up. We also hold all those who added their wonderful strength to creating a beautiful place for our children to play over there. I invite you to go over there. It was a journey all the way from Camp Verde to here, and a lot of enormous effort. And of course, the parking lot as well. So much thanks and joy. Please join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Spirit of life, we are here fully human, involved in all that means. Sometimes illness, health, sadness, and joy. We ask for joy. We ask for comfort. And we ask for peace on this earth. And we send out our gratitude for the birds that continue to sing in the trees, for the scent of butterscotch in the morning from the ponderosa pines, for the owls that sometimes sing at night, and for the birds that are in the midst of nesting, for all those things and all of the joys and sorrows that are unspoken, that are in our hearts and minds. Amen and may it be so. And now let us sing Spirit of Life.
At this time in our service, it's time to take the offering. We appreciate and are grateful for all that you offer. In addition to supporting our congregation, we also support our greater community through our Seeds of Support program. If you were here last week, you heard about the Feed Your Neighbor program that was presented last week. Why did her name just escape me? Thank you, Marie Higgins. So Marie was here to talk about the program, and they will be our seeds of support for the next couple of months. We will now enjoy offertory music. Oh, Mary Lou's playing it. I am not sick. Mary Lou's mother loved this song, and this song is Tango on the Left Bank. so much. And thank you for the generosity of your offerings. What you have given in love, we accept with gratitude. Blessed be.
In 1976, actually, that was the year my brother was heading to Argentina, where he lived for 2 years. But in 1976, Azucena Villaflor de Vicente's young son, Nestor, and his wife disappeared. In her search for her missing son, she found other mothers with missing children. Together, they called from the Plaza de Mayo in front of the presidential palace in Buenos Aires. They called for justice. Azucena Villaflor lost her life in her search for her children, and her voice has continued to call in the voices of all the mothers who were finally heard. To remember the courage and sacrifice of these mothers and grandmothers, please listen to our choir, who didn't want to infect you and is quite diminished today anyway. Let us listen to Desaparecidos. With the motherly love that we celebrate today comes the possibility, even the inevitability of loss. I remember the ride in a blizzard up to Minneapolis to catch a car of students heading to university to begin my first semester away from home. My mother sat close to me, her arm around me, and I snuggled into her in that dark, dark morning. We had been at odds in some ways for a long time, and both of us were glad to see this day coming, and we were sad at the same time. These children we grow to love do move away, and for many different reasons. Sometimes they leave us early: abduction, broken marriage, illness, addiction. There are many ways we lose our children. You probably noticed it was hard to hear in this recording, but there was a descant as the singers were singing, a high soprano who sang the lament of La Llorona, a female figure found all through the folk literature of Central and South America. La Llorona, the crying one, a mother who has lost her children. This story of loss is an old story. Mother's love is especially known for its potency. Many years ago, when Lou and I traveled to South Africa and drove in the smallest rental car available from the Johannesburg airport to Kruger National Park, the ranger at the gate said to us, "I have 3 pieces of advice. Don't get out of your car." And then again, don't get out of your car. And then, don't get out of your car. He said that because mothers can be dangerous. A mother elephant separated from her baby elephant has been known to destroy the unassuming car sitting between them. Mother love is too big for Hallmark cards. I believe that it touches all of us, flowing out of our own hearts and flowing towards us, sometimes like one of those rivers created by the monsoon rains that will take everything, including pickup trucks, in her path. Azucena Villaflor had that kind of love for her children. At the end of November in 1976, a time of spring moving into summer in Argentina with warm nights, one of her sons, Nestor de Vicente, and his fiancé, Raquel Manjin, were kidnapped. The level of fear was high during this time, only 8 months into the Argentina's military dictatorship. From that moment on, Azucena searched ceaselessly for news of her son and future daughter-in-law, even asking for an audience with the military vicar Adolfo Tortolo. You should look him up. But in vain. 6 months passed and no word. In her searches, though, she found the relatives of other missing people. Joining with them, she organized a series of public events that they all hoped would force the government into an official response. On the 30th of April, 1977, knowing that they were taking a great and spectacular risk, Azucena and 13 other mothers arranged to meet in Plaza de Mayo in the center of Buenos Aires, opposite the Casa Rosada, a government building that is much like our White House. Their decision to bring the protest right to the gates of power had huge symbolic and political significance. The military forbade stopping or gathering in the square. They only allowed people to circulate, so the women decided to walk around it, wearing white headscarves bearing the names of their missing children. Sorry. Maybe I need cough syrup. No? Anyway, with these names on their foreheads, they marched. First on a Saturday, and then they came every Thursday afternoon. Over and over again, they met, and gradually their presence caught the notice of the press. And maybe some of you, if you searched back in your memories, you might remember the photographs of these women that began to circulate through the world. And they spread the news of this, what was happening, of these desaparecidos, these missing children, to people all around the world. Each week, the women gathered and they walked quietly around the plaza, and weeks moved into months. On the 8th of December, 8 of these mothers, with a Catholic sister active in the ecumenical movement for human rights, gathered in Buenos Aires in a church. The military broke into the church and abducted the 8 women. 2 days later, Azucena Villaflor left her home on a Saturday morning to buy fish for a family dinner. On her way to the market, she was surrounded. She screamed as the men pulled her to the ground and took her away in a car. We know from an account of people who were there that they took her to Capuchita, the name given to the secret detention camp at the center of the School of Mechanics of the Navy. During those first days, she asked prisoners for news of her son and her fiancé, and she tried to find out about the other missing children, and then she disappeared, taken up into an airplane, as so many others of the desaparecidos were, and dropped into the sea. Months later, her body washed up to shore. When democracy finally returned to Argentina, and it did, DNA analysis confirmed her identity. The women of the Plaza de Mayo symbolized this movement for the return of democracy, and they did it all through refusing to be silent about their missing children. In 1983, democracy was restored to Argentina, and an investigation was begun that revealed the existence of 340 well-organized secret detention centers and their methodic use of torture and murder. Most of the records of these atrocities were destroyed. People still mourn the desaparecidos, as was apparent when President Obama visited Argentina in 2016 to announce the declassification of documents related to the dictatorship. This was a great gesture of peace, and I hope that this increased understanding, even a painful understanding of how our country supported this time of atrocities in Argentina, I hope that this will help bring peace of mind to these families of the victims. The worst thing that we can do is to deny history. Human rights groups estimate that 30,000 people, among them the children of the Plaza de Mayo, disappeared during that time. That time is now called the Dirty War. Many people came out in protest before the president's visit because our country had supported the military dictatorship, and many of the high-ranking officers had been trained in our country in such places as Fort Huachuca's School of the Americas. Human rights groups have been asking the United States to reveal what we knew, and women donned their headscarves again and walked around the plaza. These women, and there are so many more, show how love, that particular and strong love of a mother for a child, can play out in the larger arena of the world and truly bring about change. Let us take heart in this difficult story that we can change the world. We just have to be fueled with enough love, a love so big that we will persevere and that we are willing to risk everything. A miraculous aspect of mother's love is how it is felt and heard through those barriers that keep people from one another. Mother's love brought together Protestant and Catholic women in Ireland in a great movement that led to an abiding, if difficult, peace. There is something about mother's love that reminds us of what we forget, the commonalities we share as humans, and our common hope that our children will be safe in the world. I wonder if the whole issue about guns in this country could be solved by women on both sides of that dividing line that keeps us on some awful trajectory towards more tragedy, more children's lives taken in schools and on the streets. Azucena Villaflor launched the catchphrase, todas por todas y todos son nuestros hijos, all mothers for all, and they are all our children. From a few years ago, I have been impassioned with how the pioneer narratives of my ancestors intersected with Native American narratives, which is a scholarly way to express how my ancestors contributed to the suffering of Indigenous people. In my search, I have found another way that mothers have had to exercise great courage when they have a difficult story, a difficult history to pass to descendants. Many people, when confronted with a difficult history, I don't know, think of your families. We have an uncle we never speak of. There are people who just disappear from the family stories. They think there's no need to bring it up again, but I believe our hard histories inform our present. In order to heal, we must know what needs to be healed. Recently, I heard the most wonderful description of this by a Shoshone storyteller, Patty Timbimbu Madsen, a descendant of the Northwest Band of the Shoshone people who were massacred at Bear River, just across the Utah border into Idaho, on January 29th, 1863. 493 people died in one day, making it one of the worst massacres in the Western United States since our nation was founded. The dead Shoshone were left unburied. Women and children were mutilated and abused. And Patty, my friend, she gathers children around her and she tells them this story that almost wiped out her Northwest Shoshone ancestors. This is what she said to me. It is hard to know how to tell the story, but we must tell it. And that great love that she has as a mother and grandmother gives her that courage to tell that story to her children. Patty and I began a conversation about 9 years ago. 8.5 anyway. Because we are connected in more ways than a common name. My ancestor, Patty, the midwife who delivered close to 4,000 babies, fed those soldiers on the way to the Bear River. And that meal is just the beginning of my ancestors' collusion in the tragedy of the Indigenous people. My ancestor was presidentess of the Society to Clothe the Indians, a strange organization made up of women who made clothing that was then sold to the Indians. There are hard stories to tell the young people of my family and to tell my friend Patty's children. And these are the stories that I must tell. So some of you who wonder what I will be doing in retirement is I am taking this up again and will be performing the play that I wrote for my ancestor for reconciliation in many places in the West. For these stories I must tell, for hiding these stories has intensified and prolonged the suffering that was originally caused. I will be returning to Utah in the summer to perform that play again. My friend, who is a Ute elder, wanted me to perform that play for the ranchers who live around him. What is the work of courage that is yours? What if we think of the children of others as our own? We have seen that in Molly Freibot and all her children who were not cared for by their own families because of gender or sexual identity. What mothers' voices do you hear calling for mercy? May we tune our ears to the voices of mothers, and may we act with a mother's hearts. May we be like one of those elephants. Nobody will dare get out of their car. May we have that power of mother elephants to obliterate those walls of misunderstanding and hate that keep us from the world that is possible. May we have the warmongers afraid to get out of their cars. Amen, and may it be so. And now I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and we will sing one of my favorite songs, If Every Woman in the World. it is my prayer that we find that love within us, that love of a mother, that love of a mother elephant for her child. Perhaps then we will be able to find a way to stop war and to bring healing. Amen, and may it be so. And now we can, can you see that photograph? It says, it's the name, Aparición. I can't, Desaparecidos. So it's saying the names of the children and then disappeared. And Plaza and writing Mothers of the Plaza de Mayo. So now we can extinguish our chalice. I could take this off. I won't infect anyone from here. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now I invite those of you who are on Zoom, and I'm so grateful that you came. And I'm sure if you are ill, people are grateful that you didn't come in person. And it's wonderful we have this option. Thank you so much for being with us. I see Charlotte and Patrick and Leslie Grady. I'm not seeing everyone. Let me just, I think everyone wants to know who's there. Oh. Wind Euler is with us, and Kim, and Bronwyn, Drew Potter, Fred Kraft, so I imagine Suki might be with him, Tom and Paula Burrows, Tony Dennis, and Karen Hagberg. Thank you for being with us. They're clapping for you. Thank you for being with us. And now you have an opportunity to enter the breakout room, and Warren is with us too. Enter a breakout room and talk with each other about the complexity of your experiences with mothers, or perhaps think of what we have a plaza here. I wonder what we will need to do at some point. Yeah. So now is the time for a couple of different things. This is the time for those of you who are visiting to think about if you would like to introduce yourselves. But there's other business. One is that in talking with Sandra Palacios, who's doing such a wonderful work with faith development, what she needs more than anything is she needs volunteers. She needs people who are willing to commit to maybe one Sunday a month of being over there. And I'm telling you, it is fun. Whenever I possibly can, I go over there to be with the children so I can learn their names. But it's only on my Sundays off I can do that. So I hope that some of you who are feeling like, oh, that would be fun to do. It would be fun. So she really needs your help. And another thing is that this is the birthday Sunday where we're going to have cake to celebrate people's birthdays. Is anyone here who has a birthday during the month of May? Yes. And it's chocolate because that is the only cake I will eat. And now Rick Denny also has an announcement. And after that, I'll ask if any of you who are visiting would like to introduce yourselves.
I just want all of you to keep two dates in mind, June 2nd and June 16th. We have said for a long time, and actually for years, we were going to make decisions about what to do with this sanctuary. I know that many of you have noticed the improvements we've made around the building and terrific improvement that you haven't seen yet, but will across the way for the children. But there are things that need to be done to this building and options that we can discuss about what might be done to make this room improve the ambiance. So let's just say that. On June 2nd, the project team that has worked very hard will be making a formal presentation of some options that we will be able to vote on June 16th. So those two dates are very important. June 16th will be a formal congregational meeting for a vote. One of the things the board did at the beginning of the year said, we've been talking about changes in this building for years. We need to come to a decision and move forward. So June 2nd will be a formal presentation. The following week will be an opportunity perhaps to meet after service in order to get questions answered and so forth. But those 2 days are really important, and you really need to participate and help make a decision about the future of this building. Thank you.
I know we need to bring the drums out for this project team. Thank you, Russ. That was very appropriate. Would anyone like to introduce themselves today before cake? Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, yay, yay. Oh, we love Mel. Thank you for being her dad. Their dad. Yeah. Okay, so this is the time then to greet each other. I invite you to greet the people around you and then go with them into Davis Hall, where we are going to be able to have some cake. Thank you.